We want lower taxes, bigger paychecks, and more jobs.
If we lower those tax rates, we owners can reinvest in our companies.
NBC, they have this story that President Trump wanted to up our nuclear arsenal by 20%. And he said, I never even said that. And to back that up, General Maddow said the same thing.
Massive wildfires in Northern California. The incredible video showing a man driving through the fire.
At least 23 people have died that look like they went through Armageddon.
Bombshell allegations that the head of NBC News decided not to report sexual assault allegations.
Obviously is a bias to a certain extent in favor of Weinstein because of his involvement in liberal causes.
Hartford, Connecticut, the PA system failed. So the teams and the crowd, they all rose up and sang the national anthem together.
Today is October 12th, and of course you know what that means. Tomorrow's Friday the 13th, but it was in 1492 on October 12th that Columbus landed in the Americas.
Steve, right. You continue to stir up controversy. And by bringing up Columbus.
Who was born in Spain.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there we go. That horrible explorer that changed the world, and we made him a statue. What were we thinking? And by the way, Monday was Columbus Day. For no reason except for to give us a 3-day weekend.
It's a federal holiday, giving a lot of people a 3-day weekend, which they appreciated.
Last night, President went to go talk to the folks in Pennsylvania, talked to a crowd of mostly truckers, and he had a big truck behind him that had a message on it. Win again, lower taxes, bigger paychecks, more jobs.
There's that truck right there.
It's a perfect place for it to park. I wonder if he knew the president was going to speak there.
It's usually his plane. This time it's the truck.
Meanwhile, President Trump bringing his plan for tax reform to the American people, he said it out loud.
That's right. So what did he say? Here's Griff Jenkins live in our nation's capital.
Good morning, guys. He loves those truckers. He hailed them as heroes. And he says that this is a plan that will put more money, in some cases as much as $4,000, in the pockets of working families in the middle class.
America is finally back on the right track. But our country and our economy cannot take off like they should unless we transform America's outdated, complex, and extremely burdensome tax code.
Here's how he plans to transform it: by reducing the existing 7 brackets, or 8 if you include the 0 bracket, as he does, down to a simple 4: 0, 12, 25, and 35%. He says the key here is the expansion of that 0% bracket to include many people who would have fallen into higher brackets. The plan also doubles the standard deduction for individuals and families and cuts the corporate rate from 35% to 20%. And he told our Sean Hannity this is going to make history.
This is the largest tax cut in the history of our country. It is incredible. It's going to put people to work. So right now, Sean, we are the highest taxed nation in the world, and we're going to be now down in the lower rung in terms of taxes.
He's calling for bipartisan support, but Democrats are painted in the speech. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi called it a massive tax cut for the wealthy 1%. But the real goal, guys, probably is to get all the Republicans on board. And Speaker Paul Ryan is making a major speech on it this morning at the Conservative Heritage Foundation, where we're told he will say it's time to seize the moment. And it has indeed been more than 30 years since we had major tax overhaul.
It has been. All right, Griff, thank you very much. The president yesterday in Pennsylvania also had a warning for Congress. You better get this done. And unlike health care, where he was told by Mitch McConnell, Mr. President, you just sit this out. I've got it. I'm going to do it myself. And, of course, we know how that all flamed out. Now, the president himself is taking the initiative. He's got so much invested in this. Besides, every Republican who is running for re-election next year needs a win. So far, how many in that column? Not any.
Well, yeah, there's no win. There's no wins there. He's going to have an executive order today. But his problems are always going to be John McCain. The bitterness between the two is evident. And now you wonder if Senator Corker, who says, I don't think I'm going to vote for anything that's not deficit neutral, when the only thing that's going to get the deficit down is dynamic scoring, which projects growth. So Senator Corker says, yeah, I'm leaving anyway. I want deficit neutral.
How could he vote against something that would simplify something that has infuriated Americans for so many years and made it more fair?
And looks like it's going to help every American. If everyone's bracket's going down, that means we're going to be paying less for anyone who pays taxes.
Right.
And then corporate tax is going to be reduced to 20%. It's going to bring more businesses here, more money into the economy.
Right.
And it seems like a win-win. I mean, are we missing the fine print here? Why are the Democrats so against this?
Well, the people at the top end of the tax bracket, though, it sounds like it's going to be pretty much a wash, although the Democrats say, look, regardless of what the Republicans tell you, this is a big tax cut for the rich. The rich, for the most part, the top 10% pay something like 70% of all the taxes. So naturally, they're going to get a tax break. But keep in mind, the president said yesterday, the average middle-class family will get a $4,000 tax cut.
Right, and the brackets will be from 39 to 35. However, there's some pushback already when it comes to the corporate rate. The president wanted a 15, compromised on 20. There's already talk that, well, it's probably going to be like 23. But for the higher you get it up, the less impact it's going to have because places like Ireland have, I think, a 10% corporate tax.
All right, well, Sean Hannity traveled with him and was there at the rally. He also sat down with the president for an exclusive interview, and they talked about North Korea, and the president blames past administrations. Listen.
This should have been handled 25 years ago. It should have been handled 20 years ago and 10 years ago and 5 years ago. It should have been handled by numerous, not just Obama, but certainly President Obama should have taken care of it. Now it's at a point where it's very, very far advanced. Something has to be done. We can't allow this to happen.
North Korea, apparently Rocket Man's official spokesperson came out and said the president's belligerent and insane statement at the UN, Trump, so to say, lit the fuse of war against North Korea.
Right. People did try to deal with North Korea before, but they did this thing called trusting them. So they weren't thought a deal, and they thought maybe they're going to fulfill it. And turns out, by the time we left the negotiation table, they're already cheating on it. Jimmy Carter offered his services if we need his help to bring back some of the magic of the 80s.
Yeah, that's just
70s, I guess late 70s, where he wants to put himself in
Trust but verify. Meanwhile, it's hard to verify this. There was an NBC News headline, and here it is. We're going to put it up. President Trump wanted a tenfold increase in the nuclear arsenal, and that surprised a lot of military people. There's the NBC headline. As it turns out, according to the president, that is fake news. According to the defense secretary, it is as well. James Mattis said recent reports that the president called for an increase in the U.S. nuclear arsenal are absolutely false. This kind of erroneous reporting is irresponsible, and that got the president on a tear regarding fake news.
The president now says NBC broadcasting license should be in jeopardy. They should take the license away. They're just making up stories, he said.
Right. And, okay, again, we are broadcasting with licenses on us. Meanwhile, here's the question. The president
Those are driver's licenses.
Oh, the same thing. I believe it'll still work. Here's the president with Sean.
Media is bad. They're really dishonest people. These are very, very dishonest people in many cases, and not all. Look, I know some reporters, I know some journalists that are phenomenal people and very straight, very honest, but there's such dishonesty. I mean, you know, it's interesting. If I was just watching television, you don't know whether or not, because, you know, you're just watching a report. But when you're the one being written about, you know if it's good or bad, and it's always, they try and make it negative. So the media has turned, I call it fake media. It's fake. It's so much fake news.
He provides a lot of the news for basically, President Trump is programming every network. Sure. Because they look at what he's doing and they just program against it.
Well, and he's not afraid to talk about every topic. He was there to talk about tax breaks, and he ended up talking about the Vegas shooting, the wildfires in California, infrastructure bill. And he also talked about Colin Kaepernick and the football players that are kneeling.
Yeah, he blames the commissioner for letting this thing get out of hand.
And we've got a soundbite.
Any moment.
And we're going to play it.
We actually don't.
We actually played it.
We'll tell you what he said.
You want to play it? Well,
we got it.
Because you've got a license, let's run it.
I watched Colin Kaepernick, and I thought it was terrible. And then it got bigger and bigger and started mushrooming. And frankly, the NFL should have suspended him for one game, and he would have never done it again. They could have then suspended him for 2 games, and they could have suspended him if he did it a 3rd time for the season, and you would never have had a problem. But I will tell you, you cannot disrespect our country, our flag, our anthem. You cannot do that.
Something tells me Colin Kaepernick doesn't agree with that because he already retweeted and thanked Eminem for the live rap. Yeah. Which was just ripping as vile as possible the President of the United States.
Look, it looks like the President is on the verge of convincing the NFL to do something about it. And next week they're going to have a meeting, all the people involved, and it looks like the commissioner, at least, is going to say, you guys all have to stand up.
We asked all of you, I should say, to comment. A few of you did. Vicky wrote, America, love it or leave it. That was the mantra many years ago. Yeah. Maybe it should be revived.
I think I wrote this. NFL players should stand during the national anthem and pay respects to our nation's song or colors or go play in the Canadian Football League. There are many patriotic citizens willing to take their place. Of course, that's 3 downs in a much wider field.
All right. That email from somebody named Brian. Right. All right. What do you think? Let us know. In the meantime, right over there, we got some headlines with Jillian.
And I'm skeptical. I think it was you, Brian. I think so.
My own show. I need more airtime.
Yeah. You know what? Why not? Good morning, guys. We do want to begin with a Fox News alert right now. And brand new audio surfacing this morning of a Mandalay Bay employee warning hotel staff that someone was shooting. Listen.
Call the police. Someone's firing a gun up here. Someone's firing a rifle on the 32nd floor down the hallway.
Meanwhile, an autopsy of the shooter, Stephen Paddock's brain showed nothing abnormal, but he may have been on an anti-anxiety medication known to cause aggressive behavior. 10 college students now in police custody accused in the hazing death of another student who died after a night of drinking. Police say Louisiana State student Maxwell Groover had a blood alcohol level nearly 6 times the legal limit to drive and died of choking from alcohol poisoning last month. Police say he was left in the frat house alone to die. The Phi Delta Theta charter at Louisiana State now shut down. The prosecution has rested its case in the bribery trial of Democratic New Jersey Senator Robert Menendez. Menendez is accused of accepting free flights on a private jet and other gifts in exchange for working to cut deals for a friend's business. If Menendez is convicted and resigns, Republican Governor Chris Christie would appoint a replacement. No national anthem music? No problem. College football players and fans in Connecticut singing the Star-Spangled Banner before kickoff Saturday when the PA system failed. The incident coming a day before Vice President Mike Pence's decision to leave Sunday's NFL game between the Colts and 49ers when several players kneeled during the anthem. You gotta love when you see spirit like that. Don't you love it?
That was awesome.
Incredible.
All right, Jillian, thank you. All right, coming up, remember the dress? Well, now these shoes are dividing the internet. Are they pink shoes or are they white or gray and teal?
What do y'all see?
We'll tell you after a break with our old friend Anna Koyman is going to drop by.
Yeah, we're going to look at sneakers. Then President Trump taking his tax pitch right to the truckers. One of the truckers, well, he called out last night in a good way, joins us next.
With us today is Kevin Birch of Jet Express. He wants to create more American jobs, and we are working to help him do exactly that. With us today is Kevin Birch of Jet Express, who has been in the trucking business for more than 40 years. Kevin says that if Congress passes our tax relief and reform plan, he will be able to invest in new equipment and additional training for his dock workers, drivers, and technicians.
President Trump there taking his tax plan to truckers in Pennsylvania, calling out one of them by name, Kevin, where are you? There you are right there, he said.
I am.
Kevin Birch, whose name you just heard, joins us right now. He's the president of Jet Express and the chairman of the American Trucking Association. Kevin, thank you very much.
Hey, good morning to you all.
Good morning to you. So when the president was talking about a middle-class tax cut and also talking about how this would help small businesses, really he's talking about you because most American truckers are small businessmen.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of our companies nationwide, if you will, are small family companies. They're second, third generations. And, you know, that's what we do. We move America's goods and we do it in a safe manner.
I know you feel that this is going to happen. The president does need everybody in his party to help him out. But, you know, Democrats are not going to help him out because they don't want his agenda to go ahead and go forward. What's your message to the Democrats who might be watching from a small businessman from the state of Ohio? Yourself?
Well, probably because I've been coming to Washington a few more times being chairman, but bipartisan. I mean, really, freight shouldn't handle America's goods, and the economy shouldn't be a Democrat or Republican or an independent. We're all involved in this 24/7, and as the economy grows, we're going to need to figure out a way to get the freight delivered on time, because it's not like it used to be years ago where you could wait a couple days. Things are shipped, produced during the day, shipped during the night, and they're actually produced in a plant or a car or a truck in the automotive industry that I'm in the next morning. So we're 24/7.
So you feel with all your heart that this tax cut would really help your small business. But the Democrats, the political talking points, they say this is just a disguise for a gigantic tax cut for the rich.
Well, this reminds me a little bit back. I'm an older person. Like I said, I've been doing this over 40 years. But during the Reagan administration, if you will, it showed where if you do these tax cuts, you start spending money. We're pennies on the dollar like so many other industries.
Sure.
And that bottom line is that we want to reinvest. There's new technology, new tractors, new trailers. Those are things that so many of us have been hesitant to invest in.
Sure. And before you go, everybody's talking about where are the good jobs. If people are watching right now, young people, want to become a truck driver, you've got a big opening, don't you?
We sure do. Matter of fact, the ATA, we predict almost 900,000 jobs in the next 10 years.
Wow.
It's a great profession, and there's 3.5 million truck drivers, professional men and women. But there's also the need for technicians, and actually the whole trucking industry is over 7 million people. And that's moving America's goods every day, 24/7. And so we've got a lot of jobs.
Indeed. Well, Kevin Birch, keep on trucking. Thank you very much for joining us live from Washington.
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you.
You betcha. All right. Meanwhile, an ESPN host caught calling Jerry Jones a slave owner and Eminem bashing the president as a racist. Whatever happened to civility? Kevin Jackson has his take. Those guys, not going to like it. And a big decision in the fight for faith. What a court just ruled about prayer in Congress.
Brian wants me to read this fast so he has more time on the air. So here we go, Brian. Here are your news by the numbers. First, 16. That's how many illegal border patrols just caught entering the U.S. near the Texas and Arizona borders. That includes gang members and convicted sex offenders. Next, 66%. That is the rise in cannabis linked to traffic deaths in Colorado. According to research by the U.S. National Drug Control Strategy, the state has seen a 2/3 increase in traffic deaths since 2013, or from 2013 to 2016, showing a surge since the state legalized pot. And from legal pot to illegal pot, 40 minutes. That's how long police say this man broadcast himself on Facebook Live selling drugs. They say that Jeff Kirk paraded around Milwaukee selling marijuana armed with an M16 rifle and a handgun. They say in the video, Kirk shows up to his mom's house where she hands him a bag of the drug. Brian, was that fast enough? I messed up because I was reading too fast.
Really? No, I thought it was fine. I'll see you upstairs.
Okay.
Hey, the rapper Eminem lashing out at President Trump with an offensive freestyle rant.
We better give Obama props, because what we got in office now's a kamikaze that'll probably cause a nuclear holocaust. Racism's the only thing he's fantastic for.
Where's the civility? Let's talk to Executive Director of Black Sphere and Fox News contributor Kevin Jackson. Kevin, he got a huge response from the BET audience there. Others went out and were ripping the president personally, calling him a racist and everything else. Do you think it's appropriate?
No, it's not appropriate. I mean, look at little Martin Mathers saving black people one line at a time, one rap lyric at a time. This is a guy now, Brian, I think is worth about $190 million. He could go out and talk to blacks about a lot of different things. He grew up in 8 Mile. Got discovered by Dr. Dre, has made an amazing career, essentially profiteering off of blacks. And what does he do? He goes on the Hip Hop Awards and he decides he's going to pander. It's exactly what he did. Let's pay homage to Barack Obama, who unfortunately was not all that he was, all he could have been as president for blacks. And of course, you got to get in the shots on Donald Trump, because that's what he believes that audience wants to hear. I would venture to tell you there are lots of blacks in that audience who did not agree with little Martin Mathers.
I can't do his definitive biography, but he also is known for calling women sluts, lyrics about that lead to homophobic conclusions and misogyny, and he's been criticized of that in the past. And now he's ripping on President Trump because he doesn't like some of the rhetoric. He also told his fans, you have to make a choice. You can't like me, and you can't like President Trump. That's an interesting tack for his record label. Meanwhile, Michael Wilbon, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that the other irony is in 2004, he had Trump introduce Slim Shady as president, which is another sort of a interesting irony.
So when Roger Goodell comes out and says, I think the players should stand this weekend and from here on in on the national anthem, Michael Wilbon got word of this, and of course Jerry Jones told his players they have to stand, and he's on Pardon the Interruption on ESPN. Listen to this analogy.
He got down and linked arms and all this stuff. And then he said, but I want to honor the anthem. And I understand that. And it seemed like that was where he was going. But now it just seems like it was as phony as a $3 bill. And the word that comes to my mind, I don't care who doesn't like me using it, is plantation. The players are here to serve me, and they will do what I want no matter how much I pay them. They are not equal to me.
The players aren't equal to you. They're not equal to Derek Jeter. He owns the Marlins in Miami. The owners have control. What's unique about that?
Well, you know, it's a silly thing to always invoke some idea of plantation politics, or, you know, the idea that these young black men are working as slaves. If that's the case, you know, I'd sign up for that type of slavery anytime they want. You know, this was tried by Jesse Jackson when LeBron James left Cleveland. He actually implied that Dan Gilbert was a slave owner, and LeBron James was earning $7 million a year earlier in his career. So these are young black men who have to follow the rules of a corporation. Brian, you have rules that Fox sets for you. So it's ridiculous that they do that, but that's, you know, what it's boiling down to is America is finally seeing there's no way to satisfy the left when it comes to politics.
I just think it's just gone way over the top. I saw Michael Che, who's on Weekend Update on SNL, call the president multiple times a cracker. LeBron James called him a bum, and then it got worse from there. There's not only is there decorum, it's way over the line. Kevin, thanks so much.
Good to talk to you, Brian.
All right, coming up straight ahead in the next 90 minutes, forget Congress. President Trump making a big announcement today on health care. He's got a pen, and he's going to use it. And remember the dress. Well, now these shoes are dividing the internet. Are they pink? Are they white? Are they gray? Are they teal? Plus, look who's back from Australia. Our friend Anna Koyman here with some big news.
Well, Congress couldn't repeal Obamacare, so President Trump is taking matters into his own hands.
With a pen. This morning, he's going to sign an executive order promoting health care choice and competition.
Who could be against that? Kevin Corke is outside the White House with a preview. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, guys, let's think of this like football, okay? It's a first down. It's not a touchdown, and there's plenty of time left on the clock as it relates to health care reform. But the administration is still working on trying to figure out a way to repeal and replace Obamacare. As you pointed out, the president ready to use the pen to get the job done. Remember, it was all smiles back in the Rose Garden when the House voted to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. But what happened when it came time for the Senate to step up? Arizona Senator John McCain playing the role of Lucy, leaving GOP lawmakers looking a bit like Charlie Brown. They couldn't get the votes to seal the deal. So, last night in an exclusive interview with Sean Hannity, the president, who, by the way, was in Pennsylvania talking tax reform, said, look, now's the time to take matters into my hands for the sake of the American people and, best of all,
will cost the government nothing. You'll go out. Private insurers are going to give you incredible health care. And I'll tell you what, this will take, and I can sign it myself. I don't need anybody. I would have done it earlier, except I was hoping that they were going to put this through and I'd have it in the bill. But we're signing tomorrow a health care package that will cover, I don't know, people say 30%, people say 25%, and some people say it could be 50%. It's going to cover a large percentage of the people that we're talking about.
Truckers would benefit if they unite.
Truckers are perfect for this.
Right.
They unite. They form a group, see?
Right.
No, truckers will benefit.
Okay, now, when he's talking about being able to come together, guys, he's talking about these individuals and small businesses banding together. You can get a group of 10 people and have a healthcare association. Don't forget, there's so many other layers to this. We'll talk about it today on a day where we could also hear about the Iran nuclear deal. But for now, back to you.
Busy day down at our nation's capital, where I think I hear the leaf blower behind.
Of course we do.
There
right on cue.
All right. Did that guy forget something? What kind of rush? He's a huge rush.
All right, good enough.
What are you going to do?
I know. What are you
Yeah,
going
it's
to do?
going pretty fast.
All right, Kevin, thank you very much. All right.
What's gotten into us today? We are all in funny moods.
What was it?
Some sort of a sweeper cleaner. One of those, you know, they do like this
it's
on
a
the
vacuum
pavement.
for that little
Don't you have
street.
to go slow? If you go too fast, you might as well not vacuum.
I don't know.
Good question. All great, really great questions. Jillian joins us.
I'm worried about you guys right now. I don't know what to think. All right, good morning, guys. Let's get to straight to this Harvey Weinstein scandal because this just keeps getting more involved by the day. TMZ reporting Harvey boarded a private jet overnight, heading to a sex rehab and behavior center in Arizona. He was originally supposed to head out of the country, but that plan changed. This coming just hours after TMZ also reported Weinstein's daughter called 911, claiming her dad was, quote, suicidal and depressed. As for Hillary Clinton, well, it's been 6 days, and she has finally said she will give Weinstein's campaign donation back, sort of.
Would you give the money back?
Well, there's no one to give it back to. What other people are saying, what my former colleagues are saying, is they're going to donate it to charity. And of course I will do that. I give 10% of my income to charity every year. This will be part of that. There's no doubt about it.
Weinstein and his family have given more than $1.4 million in political contributions to the Democratic Party. An illegal immigrant accused of beheading his mother will likely not serve any time behind bars. A federal judge dismissing first-degree murder charges against Oliver Mauricio Funes Machado, calling him, quote, not mentally competent to stand trial. Instead, he will likely be sent to a mental hospital. The 18-year-old, originally from Honduras, told police he killed his mother at their North Carolina home because he, quote, felt like it. Congress will continue opening sessions in prayer after a challenge to the tradition by an atheist. A federal court ruling against the lawsuit brought by the co-president of Freedom from Religion Foundation. House Speaker Paul Ryan celebrating the court's decision, saying in part, quote, I am grateful that the People's House can continue to begin its work each day as we have for centuries, taking a moment to pray to God. So do you guys remember the dress? How can we forget that, right? Well, guess what? There's a new, very colorful debate going viral. It's the shoes. So some people say they're mint and gray. I say you're crazy. Others swear they're pink and white because that's what they are. The Facebook post has nearly 1,000 comments from people on both sides. The person who does own those shoes says they are pink. So I don't know. I don't see the gray and green.
Well, I read an explanation of it, and it has to do with the flash and your sensitivity with your eyes to light.
Right.
So that's why different people, Jillian, see different things.
That's
and
fine.
Speaking of different things, look who's here on the couch right now.
Hi.
It's Anna Coyne.
I haven't met you yet either. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Jillian, this is Anna. Anna, this
Hello.
is
Here, I'll run over here and say,
nice to meet you, sweetheart.
You have a lot in common. You both like sports and athletic activities.
Yes, we'll have to talk in the commercial break. Nice to meet you.
Okay, look at this. We are so happy for you.
I've been eating for two, so watch your breakfast. I've been stealing everybody's food.
Congratulations. How are you feeling?
I feel great. I'm in the second trimester. I'm
Much
in
easier
my
than the
25th
first,
stride.
right? Do you have your energy back?
Yes, absolutely. And go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say, how's Australia? We miss you.
Oh, thank you. I miss you guys, too. I'm going to tell you what, Fox & Friends prepares you to do any show. I've been doing a lot of television in Australia on Sky News. I've been doing their Today Show and a show that I love called Studio 10. They actually let me announce it on their show. They blew gold confetti all over the set. It was so much fun. But I certainly miss you guys. That made me feel like I had a TV family in Australia, but I miss you guys. I watch you all the time and listen to your podcast.
Wow, and you've been traveling around pregnant, right? So this kid has already seen the world.
Do you know my very first trip that I took, or that my little growing bub took, was actually back to New York and North Carolina for the Proud American coverage I did back in July. I was pregnant then. I was about 11 weeks pregnant then.
Did you tell your mom and dad then?
Yeah, I told them before. I did tell my field producer then, too, because I thought, okay, well, I have a tendency to overdo it, and I didn't want to overdo it during the first trimester.
So you're due at the end of January?
January 26th, I'm due, which is Australia Day, their national holiday celebrating the first fleet. I didn't, but how cool is that? So my Aussie husband and I, Tim, we're expecting a baby boy.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And yeah, we've been doing a lot of travel. That's in Venice. We did a big trip around Italy. Yep, St. Marco Square. We've been to Dubai and Switzerland. I've been doing a lot of travel for AnnaKoyman.com. I don't know how much you guys have seen, but I've launched a website, Fitness, Travel, and Lifestyle, and I've been doing a lot of blogging with different hotel groups and airlines and
you're filming out in Los Angeles, what, next week?
Yes. Okay, so everybody at home, we can have coffee together. I can't wait. I'm lucky me. Monday through Friday, I'm going to be co-hosting Good Day LA this coming week with the legendary Steve Edwards there. He's kind of like a Regis Philbin type in LA. And yeah, I get to be on the show. I can't wait. And you can stream it live on kttv.com too if you're not in the LA area. Which
are you going to get to go back to North Carolina at all?
I'm not. My parents are coming to LA though. This time I just couldn't fit it in.
Sure.
You know, and then I'm going to stay put for a while in Australia.
Yeah, because you can't travel the last few months. Baby will be born in Australia, so dual citizenship. Will your parents go over there for the birth?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll have to see how all that goes. But it's a long flight.
Have you thought about your field producer taking Lamaze classes just in case you're working up until the last minute? I mean, being that he was briefed on the whole operation.
Well, actually, I was just texting back and forth with a friend of mine who lives here in New York, works at NBC, and she had her baby. Her water broke on air. Did you see that story?
I did.
I had no idea. I was texting her, going, "Oh, we need to get together," and couldn't figure out why I wasn't hearing back from her. So I'm not going to be doing that. Hopefully.
Water broke on air.
Yeah, congratulations to her. She finished the newscast. She's an amazing woman.
That's historic.
Gosh.
Right.
Well, if you need anything, this is going to be the best experience of your life. That weekend, well, mine was on a weekend because she was born on a Friday. It just changes your life in such a great way, Anna.
Well, I need a lot of tips from you. A lot of mommy tips.
You're going to be a great mom. You and Tim are going to be great parents.
All right, we're going to be watching you next week on KTLA.
Hey, thank you. KTTV.
Yeah.
KTTV.
Don't watch Day LA.
Yeah, one's Channel 5 and one isn't.
Yeah, and it's great to see you guys. Great to see all the producers. Thanks for having me back. It means a lot.
We love having you home.
Weren't we supposed to talk about sneakers?
We did.
We did.
It's over?
That was it.
Oh, okay.
Can I challenge you guys to a fitness maternity competition tomorrow?
You'd still win. What color did you see on the shoes? Pink or blue?
Pink.
Pink, blue and gray, pink.
I saw pink.
I saw pink the first time, but then we showed it again, and now I see pink. What did you see?
They are pink. But there's a flash that makes it kind of...
Whose rods and cones are more accurate? Write us.
Well, the president flew Air Force One out to the Air National Guard base in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania yesterday, and then flew home. Somebody we dispatched there is Todd.
Yeah, I learned this morning Harrisburg is the capital. Do you remember that from elementary school? Todd is there at a diner. You're at a loss for words. Hey, Todd.
Morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, the Harrisburg paper here, the Patriot News, says it all. It says, get it passed. So we're speaking to the folks here at the City Line Diner in Harrisburg, right down the street from where the president spoke, to find out if that is what they want. We're going to begin with Dan. Dan, first of all, thank you for your service to our great nation in the Navy. Dan describes himself as a sensible environmentalist Republican. He's a small business owner, and he really enjoyed the speech. Why?
I did. He's hitting all the points that we feel is important, especially as a small business owner. We do need lower taxes, and we need an easier way to get those taxes done. You know, it's not good to be struggling to meet payrolls and having to find a CPA and pay them $4,000 or $5,000 a year just to complete a simple tax form.
And you told me that even though you are not in that upper tax bracket, those individuals who are in those upper tax brackets pay a lot of the taxes, so they deserve a tax break. Why do you say that?
I believe they pay most of the taxes in the country, and perhaps it's a burden on them too. What we need to do is find a way to hire more people. More money, you can hire more people, you can train them better for other jobs that are going to lift up their family incomes.
Now, you mentioned you shouldn't have to hire a CPA, so of course we go to James, who is, drumroll please, a CPA. And James, you say you have mixed feelings about President Trump's tax plan. You did vote for the president, but you say regardless, it's not getting through Congress. Why do you say that?
Well, there are different things that are involved, and I agree 100% with the man sitting to my right. First of all, those kind of fees are too high. I don't charge those kind of rates. I've got a practice in this town. I'm well known for being very fair with rates. I don't make $300 an hour. I don't need to. I'm 74 years old. I'm a widower.
But specifically, you do say life is complex.
And
taxes need to be complex.
Well, they will be, inevitably, because Pennsylvania started in 1971 with a flat tax. We still have the rate flat. We have all kinds of curlicues stuck in there now. The enforcement of it has gotten to be needlessly onerous in this state. So, you know, I agree in part with what my gentleman sitting to my right is saying. There are some things again, we'll have to see specifically what they do pass, if they ever get the votes to even pass it.
And and I think what James is saying, what the individual said earlier at the 6:45 hour, there's a lot of concern that no matter what the president does, Congress is not going to get anything passed. We saw that in health care. There's just a general fear, it seems, among the American people that nothing's going to get done in D.C. Sending on back to another great city, New York City. Hi, guys.
That's right, Todd. Thank you very much. Well, people are frustrated. The folks I've talked to out and about, they say the president seems to be doing what he can do, but Congress not helping him out.
Well, we'll find out if they're going to do anything. They got until December, and they got to start working with him 1 day a week.
Meanwhile, she is one of the world's most notorious terrorists, and now the so-called White Widow, a recruiter for ISIS, is dead. A big win in the war on terror. We'll give you details coming up.